The divine bliss, which is the source of all happiness, is related to its knowledge that was revealed in its original form by the supreme divine power, Krishna, during his miraculous appearance in this world. That was the Gita, the origin of all the spiritual isms and the knowledge of all the knowledges, which has now been further simplified by His Divinity Swami Prakashanand Saraswati, the foremost disciple of Jagadguru Sri Kripaluji Maharaj, who is the supreme divine descension of this age. The Gita is not only a philosophy, it is a promise of God.
मय्येव मन आधत्स्व मयि बुद्धिं निवेशय निवसिष्यसि मय्येव अत ऊर्ध्वं न संशयः.
It tells to merge all the spiritual formalities into the exclusiveness of loving devotion to the supreme form of God, and you will receive His vision.
Chitramaho Chitram Vande Tatprema Vandhanam Yadavadham Muktidam Muktam Brahma Krida Mrigi Kritam Namaha Kamalana Namaha Kamalamaline Namaha Kamalapandaya Namaste Kamale Kshanam. The Divine Souls. In the previous meeting, I described briefly what is Veda, what are Upanishads. Also explaining Jiva, Maya, Brahma, Soul, Maya energy, God. They are always together. In this world, God is omnipresent, Maya is predominating. In the divine world, all the souls are liberated. They experience the bliss of their beloved form of God. And Maya is very inactive. Take it like this. Suppose a boy in his class comes and says, "Oh, my friend, see, I am holding uncountable gigantic trees in my hand." The boy laughs. "Oh, you are holding tree in your hand." "Oh, not tree, uncountable trees." Boy simply laugh. He opens his palm and a small seed is there. It falls on the ground. Was he right or was he wrong? Both. See, a seed of a big gigantic tree, thorny tree it might be, might have bitter fruits, but the seed is very small. A small seed contains a tree, one tree? No. It sprouts or become a tree, and that tree could again yield millions of seeds. From those millions of seeds could be millions of trees, could be billions and trillions of seeds. So, how long, how far, how much, how many? Uncountable. So, one seed could contain uncountable gigantic trees. He's right, he's not wrong. But that tiny, useless, helpless seed, just negligible, not doing any harm, nothing. So, Maya is like that in Goloka Vrindavan. But in this world, it evolved into this big, unlimited universe. However, in this world, we have knowledge of the Vedas and Upanishads to reveal the path how to go up there. So briefly we can understand what Upanishad says. Briefly. Upanishads tell about God, the Supreme. For instance, Eko Deva Sarvabhuteshu Gudha Sarvavyapi Sarvabhutantaratma कर्माध्यक्षः सर्वभूताधिवासः साक्षी चेता केवलो निर्गुणश्च. Eko Deva, he is one God, one Supreme, no two. Explains further, Sa Uttama Purushaha Raso Vaisaha. In gist, it means the Supreme Personality of the Godhead, or the Supreme God, has a personality. You can say like this, South Mahapurusha. And that God, his personality is omnipresent and is bliss himself, divine love himself. So, that God here. So, how to find that God? Then in the Vedas, there is a great description of Upasana. Upasana Kand. Upasana Kand means worship. It's in great detail. Briefly in the Upanishad, but in great detail in the Mantra Bhag, Mantra part of the Vedas. Means worshipping various forms of God. Means, for instance, you are doing some japa of some mantra of some God, or worship with rules and regulations, is full of that. Gita also explains that briefly. Then Upanishads also tell about bhakti. Bhakti revainam nayati, bhakti revainam darshayati, bhakti vasha purushaha, bhakti reva bhuyasi, upasate purusham ye yhakamaha, yasya deve parabhaktihi. All these verses of the Upanishads, they say God is attainable through bhakti, through surrender, through devotion, through divine love consciousness. And how is he attainable? Through devotion and service and bhakti. But again, yamai veksha vrunate tina labhya. Mainly with his grace. You do something, he imparts his grace, and you realize him. Rasagvam hevayam labdha nandi bhavati. So soul becomes like God. He experiences the bliss of God through His grace. But by following the rules of devotion, surrender, or divine love consciousness, means adoration. Not too much of formulative worship, adoration. Not just plain worship physically, adoration, surrender, dedication. So Upanishads tell all those things. Gita explains them in a very straightforward language, but emphasizes on bhakti part most. Bhakti means adoration. For instance, Ananya Chintayantu Mam Yejana Paripasate Maniyo Man Adhaso means those who give their mind and heart to Krishna. Our souls, give your mind and heart to me. Means keep me in your heart, keep me in your mind. Ananya Chintayantaha. Remember all the time. Remember Chintayanta. Not just worship. Remember. Remembering is the act of your emotional mind, not intellectual mind. You can worship with the intellectual mind. Suppose you are worshipping some form of God, you have to do some recitation, some japa, then some particular kind of flower you have to offer, then some ritual you have to do. You can use your intellect in this kind of things, where they are formulative worship. But in devotion, only your emotional mind, man, is required. So Krishna says, worship me with emotion. Or just keep me in your heart and mind. So Gita emphasizes on emotional devotion or emotional worship or adoration. Mostly emphasized in the verses. In the Vedas, there is also a description of form of God, a very controversial question. Nirakar Brahma or Sakar Brahma? God, is He formless or does He have a form? So, who questions this? Only intellectuals. Because a devotee never questions. His God is His divine beloved. Anyway, for intellectuals also, we have philosophy. So Veda says, yes, Murtang Chaiva Murtang Cha Dvaiva Brahmane Rupe. God has two forms. One which you can adore, and the other which is formless. Formless form and with form. God has two forms. And what Gita says? Gita says there is no formless form. I am the main form. If you think of something formless, that is within me. Brahmano hi pratisthaham amritasya vayasya cha. Brahmana, if you think of some Nirakara Brahma formless form of God, that is established within me, in me. So I am the prime form. This prime form of God is Saguna Sakara, means with form, which you can worship, adore, love, think of. Not formless form. It is a situation. Although Gita explained very clearly, Krishna many times said that I am the main form. Matta parataram nanyad kinchidasti dhananjaya. O Arjun, Matta parataram nanyat Nothing is beyond me. Nothing is apart from me. Everything is within me, and I am the main form. However, this question for intellectuals, Nirakar Sakar, is like an everlasting question. Because in the world, intellectuals always remain, and devotees always remain for devotees. No question for intellectuals. They have to be satisfied. So, are there two forms of God? If there are two forms of God, which one is prominent and which one is secondary? Nirakar is main form and Sakar is secondary form, or Sakar is main form, Nirakar is secondary form. Nirakar means formless and Sakar means with form. Sa-akara means form of Krishna, and Ni-akar means formless, no form. So which one is primary, which one is secondary? So Bhaktas say the prime form is my adorable Krishna. Are other forms of God, Bhagavan Ram, Vishnu, it could be any form. And those who don't believe in this philosophy, they think, no. The formless form is the main form, and that assumes a form. There are two parties. And because it's an intellectual question, so intellect can never reach God, so they never understand the truth. Unless they become humble. The question is like this, that ice becomes water, or water becomes ice. You see, if you go to Antarctica or North Pole, you have to melt ice to drink water. All ice over there. If you are here in America, India, other lands, you make ice to cool your water. So what is ice? What is water? What is the prime form? Ice from water, water from ice. Very confusing situation. You can't say anything. Water becomes ice or ice becomes water. Both answers and questions are wrong. Because it is conditional. And the conditioning factor is temperature. Temperature. Below zero temperature, everything is ice. And normal temperature, it is all water. So all water or all ice depending upon temperature. You see, Neptune is so cold, minus 235 degrees Celsius. Even the ice is like a granite hard. That hard ice, that hard water, water that hard, like granite. So what is what? Nothing. Temperature. Temperature dominates. Cold temperature freezes the same thing, the water. And warm temperature melts the ice. So there is no situation in the divine world which could dominate God to become a form, take a form, or not to take a form. Because God is supreme. Natastamascha vedikashta drishyate. Nothing above God. His own will. His own will. So, does he become with his own will Nirakara Brahma? Or from his own will becomes again Sakara Brahma? Again, the situation is that Sakara Brahma is also omnipresent. So how does he become Nirakara Brahma? Without form. Sakara Brahma is omnipresent. So an omnipresent Sakara Brahma means form of Krishna, form of Rama, form of Vishnu, whatever it is you worship. So how that could become formless? No. It's again illogical. But Veda has said it has two forms, Nirakar and Sakar. Anyway, all the divine situations, they cannot be intellectually understood. One must know this. That's why in the Vedas, the three-fourths part of the Vedas relate to dharma, rituals, observing good deeds. So actually you become a normal human being, a good human being, a God-fearing human being, a faithful human being, having faith in God. Then talk about God. So talk of God has to be with faith, not with intellect. Never with intellect, because intellect has a different faith. So if your intellect is governed by material faith, you have no faith in God. So how in what situation a soul could think about what form of God it is, Sakara and Nirakar? A situation is called humbleness, jigyasa, shraddha. It could be a humble question. What is the form of God? And the saint says, He has a form, worship Him, and devotee accepts. Because they are not for intellectual hypothesis. It is impossible. But anyway, our scriptures are so extensive and so great explanations, there is the answer of every question. So, God actually has a form in His own abode. Radha Krishna in divine Vrindavan, Radha Krishna in divine Golok, Dwarkadhish in Dwarka abode, Bhagwan Ram in Saket abode, Mahavishnu, Durga, Kali, Lakshmi, Shiva, they are all in Vaikuntha abode. So in these prime abodes, divine abodes, the form of God, as I explained just now, it is there. So, God has a form to adore. He can never become formless. No question of becoming, and for what purpose? No sense. But there are some situations from soul's point of view, not from God's point of view. So from God's point of view, He has always a divine form, and that is omnipresent. From soul's point of view, there are three situations. Veda has said, Upanishad has said, Tat srishtva tadevanupravishat. When this universe was created, without souls, just the matter was created. Without souls. Tat srishtva. God was there? Yeah. Just omnipresent existence of divine truth. That's fine. God was there. That was called Nirguna Nirakara Brahma. Means God was just omnipresent because there was no soul. Nirguna Nirakar means no divine power. And Nirakar, no form. No divine powers, no form, just existence, because it was not required. Then came souls in this universe. Then souls came. Then same God became Saguna Nirakar. Means now He was in every soul, in the heart of every soul, and willing to grace that soul. So He was Nirakar, He had no form, yet He had a desire to grace the souls. Means some divine power was there, power of grace. But again, from soul's point of view, suppose some of those souls, suppose, received God realization. Oh, my God is beloved Krishna, Radha Krishna. Then same God who was in his heart and soul became Radha Krishna form. So from soul's point of view, there are three stages. From soul's point of view, just absolute existence of God when there were no souls. Then existence of God with a will to grace when souls came into being. And when some soul became God realized, then for that particular soul, God was God, the beloved God. So in this way, from soul's point of view, there are these three situations. Anyway, God has no formless state. In all of his abodes, he has a form, and devotees worship that form. So rest of it I'll explain tomorrow. Thinking of God as your divine beloved, devoting your heart and mind to Krishna. Do chanting for a few minutes. गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय गोविंद जय जय गोपाल